Have you ever noticed that the people who feel jealous of you rarely look angry or obvious? Most of the time, they do not roll their eyes, raise their voice, or openly criticize you. In fact, the most jealous people often look friendly. They smile at you, speak calmly, and ask questions that sound completely normal. At first, their words seem harmless, almost like they are simply curious or trying to understand you better. But if you listen more carefully, you may begin to notice something strange. Those questions are not always innocent. Sometimes they are subtle psychological traps designed to make you doubt yourself, question your success, or feel slightly uncomfortable about something you were once proud of. Jealous people rarely attack directly. Instead, they use questions to slowly chip away at your confidence. A simple sentence, asked with the right tone, can plant a small seed of doubt in your mind. And once that doubt appears, it can quietly grow. Before you realize it, the excitement you once felt about your achievements begins to fade. That is exactly how hidden jealousy often works. It disguises itself as curiosity, concern, or friendly conversation. In this video, we are going to break down 5 specific questions that jealous people ask again and again. Once you recognize these questions, you will start seeing them everywhere. More importantly, you will understand the hidden meaning behind them and learn how to respond without losing your confidence or your joy. Jealousy rarely appears in obvious ways. Most people imagine jealousy as anger, criticism, or open hostility. But in reality, the most dangerous kind of jealousy is much quieter. People who feel jealous of you often avoid direct confrontation because attacking you openly would reveal their true feelings. Instead, they hide their insecurity behind polite words, friendly tones, and casual questions. On the surface, it may seem like they are simply curious or even supportive, but underneath those words, there is often a very different intention. Questions are powerful psychological tools. A well-placed question can influence how someone thinks without sounding aggressive. Jealous people understand this, even if they are not fully aware of it themselves. By asking certain questions, they can plant small seeds of doubt in your mind. Suddenly, you start wondering if your success is really deserved, if your decisions are wise, or if you might be doing something wrong. The question itself may sound harmless, but its real purpose is to slowly weaken your confidence. When someone feels threatened by your progress, your happiness, or your achievements, they may try to bring you back down to a level that feels more comfortable for them. They might question how you achieve something, whether your decision is smart, or whether you are changing too much. Each question subtly pushes you to explain yourself, defend your choices, or even downplay your success. Over time, this can make you shrink your own accomplishments just to avoid making others uncomfortable. Understanding this psychology is important because it helps you see the difference between genuine concern and hidden jealousy. Real supporters ask questions because they want to help you grow. Jealous people ask questions to make you doubt your growth. Once you recognize this pattern, the 5 questions we are about to explore become much easier to spot. Imagine this. You finally buy something nice for yourself. Maybe it is a new phone, a pair of shoes, or something you worked hard to afford. You feel proud because it represents your effort and progress. You are excited, and naturally, you share that moment with people around you. Then someone looks at it, smiles slightly, and asks, "Wow, how did you afford that?" At first, the question sounds harmless. It seems like simple curiosity. But if you pay closer attention, something feels slightly uncomfortable. Instead of congratulating you or saying you deserve it, they immediately focus on your money and how you paid for it. This is where the trap begins. The moment you start explaining yourself, you are already stepping into it. You might say things like, "Oh, it was on sale," or "I've been saving for a long time," or "It wasn't that expensive." Without realizing it, you begin minimizing your own achievement. You start justifying your happiness as if you need permission to enjoy what you earned. That subtle shift is exactly what jealous people are hoping for. Psychologically, jealousy often appears when someone feels uncomfortable seeing another person succeed. Your progress reminds them of their own frustrations or limitations. Instead of celebrating with you, they try to make your success feel smaller. By asking how you afforded something, they subtly suggest that maybe you shouldn't have it, or that your success needs an explanation. It is not really about the object you bought. It is about making you question whether you deserve it. The healthiest response is simple confidence. Instead of explaining every detail, you can calmly say something like, I worked for it, or I decided to treat myself. Short, clear, and confident answers close the door to further probing. You do not need to defend your achievements or justify your happiness. What you earned through your effort belongs to you, and real supporters will celebrate that without questioning it. Now imagine another situation. You are excited about a new step in your life. Maybe you are starting a business, changing careers, moving to a new city, or finally chasing a dream you have been thinking about for years. You feel nervous but also hopeful, because growth always requires courage. Then someone listens to your plan, pauses for a moment, and asks, "Are you sure that's a good idea?" The question sounds reasonable on the surface. It might even sound like concern, but the effect it creates inside you is immediate. Suddenly, your excitement slows down. Doubt begins to appear. You start wondering if you overlooked something or if you might be making a mistake. This is another subtle trap. When people ask this question without offering support, advice, or curiosity about your plan, they are not really helping you think things through. Instead, they are planting a seed of uncertainty. Once that seed is in your mind, it can grow quickly. You may start questioning your abilities, your preparation, or even the dream itself. Jealous people often use this kind of question because your progress makes them uncomfortable. When they see you taking risks and moving forward, it reminds them of opportunities they were too afraid to take themselves. The difference between genuine support and hidden jealousy is very clear when you pay attention. Supportive people may still ask questions, but their tone is different. They ask because they want to understand your plan and help you succeed. They might say, "Tell me more about how you're going to do it," or, "That sounds exciting, how can I support you?" Jealous people rarely do that. They simply drop the doubt into the conversation and leave it there, allowing your own mind to do the rest of the work. The best way to respond is calm certainty. Instead of explaining everything or defending your decision, you can simply say, "Yes, I'm sure," or "I've thought about it, and I'm going for it." Confidence closes the door to unnecessary doubt. Your path does not need approval from people who are uncomfortable with your growth. As you continue growing in life, something interesting often begins to happen. You start becoming more confident. Maybe you speak up more, set clearer boundaries, dress differently, or simply carry yourself with greater self-respect. You stop accepting treatment that once made you uncomfortable. Naturally, this kind of personal growth changes the way you show up in the world. But sometimes, instead of encouragement, someone reacts with a question that feels strangely hostile. "Who do you think you are?" Or, "You've changed." At that moment, the energy shifts. Suddenly, your progress is treated like a problem rather than something positive. This reaction can make you feel guilty about improving yourself. You might begin wondering if you really have changed too much, or if becoming more confident somehow makes you arrogant. That emotional discomfort is exactly the trap. Jealous people often frame your growth as a betrayal of who you used to be. By saying you have changed, they try to pull you back toward the older version of yourself, the version that was quieter, easier to control, and less threatening to their own sense of security. Psychologically, this reaction happens because your progress forces them to confront something uncomfortable about their own lives. When they see you evolving, gaining confidence, and becoming stronger, it reminds them that they are standing still. Instead of using your growth as motivation, they attempt to protect their ego by criticizing yours. If they can convince you that your improvement is wrong, then they do not have to question why they have not grown in the same way. But the truth is simple. Change is a natural part of personal development. Growth means learning, adapting, and becoming a better version of yourself over time. Healthy relationships recognize and celebrate that transformation. When someone tries to shame you for improving, it often reveals more about their insecurity than about your behavior. A calm response can be powerful here. You might simply say, "Yes, I'm growing," or "I'm becoming who I'm meant to be." Then continue moving forward. Your growth does not require anyone's permission, and becoming stronger is never something you need to apologize for. Picture this situation. You are feeling good about yourself. Maybe you dressed well for an event, shared a personal achievement online, or expressed excitement about something you worked hard for. You are simply enjoying a moment of pride and happiness. Then someone looks at you and says, "Isn't that a little much?" Sometimes the words may sound slightly different. "Do you really need all that attention?" Or, "Why are you showing off?" On the surface, these comments seem like casual opinions, but the emotional effect is immediate. Suddenly you feel a bit embarrassed. as if you might have crossed an invisible line. This question often carries a hidden intention. Instead of celebrating your confidence, the person subtly suggests that your happiness is excessive. The goal is not really to help you stay balanced. The real goal is to make you shrink your presence so they feel more comfortable. When jealous people see someone shining brightly, it can create an uncomfortable comparison in their minds. Your confidence highlights the areas where they feel insecure about themselves. Rather than working on their own self-esteem, they attempt to dim your light. Psychologically, this reaction is a defense mechanism. If they can convince you that you are too much, you may begin lowering your voice, hiding your achievements, or downplaying your excitement. Over time, you might even stop sharing your successes entirely. That outcome makes them feel safer because the uncomfortable comparison disappears. But your joy and confidence were never the problem in the first place. A healthy response does not require arguments or long explanations. The most effective approach is simple and calm confidence. You might smile and say, "I'm just being myself," or "I'm happy, and that's okay." These responses acknowledge your feelings without apologizing for them. You are not responsible for reducing your brightness just because someone else feels uncomfortable in the presence of it. Real supporters celebrate your confidence and stand beside you when you shine. Now imagine you finally achieved something meaningful. Perhaps you completed a difficult project, received a promotion, built something from nothing, or accomplished a goal you spent months working toward. You feel proud because you know the effort, discipline, and persistence it required. When people hear about it, most supportive friends will say things like, "That's amazing," or "You worked really hard for that." But sometimes, instead of recognition, someone responds with a different kind of question. "Wow, that's impressive. Did someone help you with that?" At first, the question may sound harmless. After all, many successes involve teamwork or support from others. But if you listen carefully, the tone behind the question can reveal something deeper. Instead of acknowledging your effort, the focus immediately shifts away from you. The implication is subtle but powerful. Maybe the success wasn't really yours. Maybe someone else deserves the credit. In that moment, your achievement is quietly reduced. Jealous people often struggle to give genuine credit when someone around them succeeds. Accepting your accomplishment would require them to admit that you are capable, talented, or hardworking in ways they may not want to recognize. So instead, they search for another explanation. They assume someone else must have done the difficult part, or that you had help they did not. This allows them to protect their own self-image, while minimizing your achievement. The danger of this question is that it can make you doubt yourself. You may start saying things like, "Oh, it wasn't just me," or "I had a little help," even if most of the work truly came from your own dedication. While acknowledging support is healthy, you should never feel pressured to erase your own effort. A confident response can be simple: "I worked really hard on it," or "Yes, I did it." Owning your success is not arrogance, it is honesty. Your achievements deserve to be recognized, and you should never feel the need to give away credit just to make someone else more comfortable. Now that you know these patterns, those questions become much easier to recognize. How did you afford that? Are you sure that's a good idea? Who do you think you are? Isn't that a little much? And did someone help you? On the surface, they sound ordinary, but the intention behind them can reveal a lot. The real difference is not in the words themselves, but in the spirit behind them. Supportive people celebrate your progress, encourage your ideas, and recognize your effort. Jealous people often question, doubt, or quietly minimize what you achieve. The important lesson is simple. You do not need to defend your happiness or explain every success. Confidence and calmness are often the strongest responses. When you understand what these questions really mean, they lose their power over you. Instead of shrinking, you stay steady and continue moving forward. If you have ever heard one of these questions in real life, share your experience in the comments below. And if this video helped you see these situations more clearly, don't forget to like and subscribe for more insights about human psychology and relationships.